Oh, what is that? That was a super weird hit. I don't know what kind of fish this is. I don't know what this is. I'm baffled. It's fighting really, really weird. It's big, whatever it is, and it's fighting super, super weird. So a couple of weeks ago, I threw together a dish that involved pasta and shrimp, and it was absolutely fantastic. But it got me thinking, you know what I better be really good with? Fish. So I'm heading out today to see if I can catch any. Fishing's been really good here in South Louisiana. It's daytime now, 10 o'clock a.m., but we should have a good hard falling tide. Not a whole lot of wind today. It's warm, unseasonably warm. We really haven't had much of a fall at all. It's been kind of an extension of summer, but the fishing's definitely picked up. Come along with me, let's see what we can find. All right, now I'm on site, deep in the marsh of South Louisiana. Plan is to explore some bayous today. You know, on every fishing trip, you've got elements that are working for you and elements that are working against you. Working for us today, we've got a good hard falling tide, no doubt about it. Definitely like that. We also have a light wind, it's blowing probably about 7 miles an hour or so. Wish it was a little bit lighter, but it's okay. We're gonna duck into this marsh, we'll be fine. Water looks really good, really good. But what I don't like is water temp. It's 80 degrees. That's just too hot for this time of year. Way too hot. Mid-November, I mean, just so unusual here in South Louisiana to be that warm. We've really not had any cool weather at all. A little bit in October, but not too much. But I'm starting with an ATV crankbait. Really like this color. It's called Purple Nurple. It's a great color. I'm on the hunt for speckled trout and redfish mostly, but I'll take anything that wants to bite. And I'm just gonna hit a bunch of bayous, see if I can find some with some depth. Focus on the mouths. On my last trip, definitely the mouths of these bayous were the key. Man, they were full of fish. This bayou is really small, really more of a ditch. It's 3 feet here on the mouth. No bites on the way in. Also got this candy bug Zimmer swimmer rigged up on a 1/4 ounce death grip jig head. Gonna make some casts with that. See, these fish are hugging to the bottom. If there are any fish in here, may not be. Oh, there's one. Oh, redfish. All right, that didn't take long. I think he's, well, I'm pretty sure he's legal. If we get him in, he'll go great in our recipe. He tattooed it. Oh yeah, real good fish. Might even be too big. Nah, he's perfect. Good eater, good eater. I tell you what, that Zimmer swimmer is just a fish catcher. Redfish, speckled trout, bass, flounder, everything hits it. And they typically hit it like that, like super angry. Yeah, dude. And this is perfect candy bug water. It's got a little color to it. All right, he's ours. He is ours. All right, beautiful fish. Oh, he was hooked super well. There we go. He's a little on the big side for me, but first fish of the day, he'll go great in our recipe, so I'm gonna keep him. All right, let's hope that's a sign of things to come. This bayou so far has some perfect depth, about 4 feet. It's gonna be deeper in that bend. Probably need to find one with a little more depth to catch some trout, particularly with these high water temps. Typically in the marsh, when water temps are in the 80s, you catch a lot of small trout. You don't catch as many nice sized trout. Been catching a ton of 12 to 13 inch trout this year. Oh, what is that? That was a super weird hit. I don't know what kind of fish this is. I don't know what this is. I'm baffled. It's fighting really, really weird. There he goes. That might be a drum. I don't know. Last time I thought I had a drum, I had a flathead catfish. It's big, whatever it is. And it's fighting super, super weird. We're gonna go chase him. That's all we can do. He's just hugging the bottom. I really am stumped. I'm not keeping this fish, I know that. I just want to see him though. Come on, dude. He's straight down in 3 feet of water, but I can't pick him up. I mean, it's just, look, look at that. He's gonna run again. There he goes. Go ahead, wear yourself out. It's the only way this ends. Loosen that drag just a hair so I don't break that line, because this is a big fish. Unfortunately, he's running right into my bend, which is really where I wanted to focus and fish. But any specks that might be in that bend are gonna be gone when this dude swims through. Getting a good biceps workout. This is one of the weirdest fish I've ever fought. Just cannot pick him up. I mean, I cannot pick him up. It's like he's glued to the bottom. He'll sit there, recover, and then run. I hope it's not an alligator. It's kind of what it feels like. I think it might be an alligator. That's what I'm starting to think. It's like no fish I've ever fought. I really want to see it just to satisfy my curiosity. But I don't want to spend the next hour fighting this thing. I've only hooked one other alligator before, and I did fight it for an hour. I've only personally hooked one alligator. I've been on boats where they've been hooked a number of times. Yeah, and he keeps burping up air. I think it's a gator. Oh, he's so close. I can see my leader. Just can't see him. Let's see if we can see him. Yep, alligator. Alligator. Good night. He's hooked in the tail. All right. Oh, there he goes. Good. All right. That's about the best possible outcome for that. Just cost me a jig head and a bait. Fair trade. All right, done with the gator, retied. Now let's see if we can find some actual fish. No dinosaurs, just fish. Oh, there we go. That's a redfish. All right. That's not that's not a gator, I don't think. I think he's a red. I hope. Yeah, he's fighting like a fish, not like a gator. Oh my goodness, you know what? I think it's the gator again. I think it's the alligator again. I cannot even believe this. What are the chances? I guess I should have moved on. At first I thought he was a red, but now I'm thinking he's an alligator. Reds don't fight like that. Look at that. I think it's my first cast. I have to go back and look at the video, but I think it's my first cast with this jig head. I guess that gator just sat right in one spot. This is not a red. I'm gonna break my line. I don't want to deal with this. If I can break it. There we go. Man, I might need to bail in this bayou. All right, I'm just gonna blaze. I don't want to fish. There's a pond up ahead. I want to fish the edge of that. But I don't want to make any more casts in this area for obvious reasons. I don't know where that dude is gone. And for those who are wondering, alligators are excellent to eat, and they are legal to harvest in Louisiana, but you have to have a tag. And I don't have a tag. And the season it's just a limited season. It's roughly the month of September. So it'd be no option to harvest that guy. Not to mention, I don't have any way to dispatch him. Can't really babysit him in the boat the rest of the day. So all he was to me was a waste of time. And a waste of a couple of baits. Here's my little pond up here. A really good looking little intersection. Maybe there's some fish there, not just alligators. And I don't hook many alligators at all. Like I said, I can only think of one prior to this one that I personally hooked, probably more than that, but only one I can think of. I was on a boat one day with a buddy of mine. He hooked 3 alligators on the same trip. Absolutely incredible. Better chances of getting struck by lightning than that. Of course, now I'll hook 2 today, so I don't know if it's the same one. Probably was, but who knows. All right, let's see if we can get a fish. Gator-free zone. I doubt that pond has very much water. Beautiful crab on the bottom. All right, I'm fishing my way out of Alligator Bayou. I'm gonna throw this ATV again. Try and cover some water quickly. Oh, goodness. That was a really good hit. Flounder! Flounder on my ATV. Oh, goodness. Now, that's kind of good news, bad news. Good news, because I caught a flounder, and I love catching flounder. Bad news is that we're in the middle of a flounder moratorium. They're not legal to keep. This dude's also going to go nuts, and hopefully not put one of these hooks in my leg. I mean, he got both hooks well. This dude was not gonna come off. All right, we got the bait out. That's good. Now we just gotta let him go. Flounder moratorium currently. These guys are not legal to keep. So we gotta let him go. Heartbreaking. Man, he tagged that bait. I always say flounder are my favorite bycatch because I never target, well, that's not true. Can't say that is true. I seldom target flounder. Like today, I'm not necessarily targeting flounder, but I'm always glad to catch one. And I'd say I catch about a dozen a year, mostly in the fall. Seems like you catch a lot more during the moratorium than you do any other time, but I don't mind letting them go. Definitely whatever we can do to get that species, oh, another hit, get that species coming back, because populations were decimated in Louisiana. But they're definitely springboarding back really well. Most people wouldn't think of an ATV as being a flounder bait, but I've caught a number of flounder on this bait. There's a little drain up here. Let's see if I can reach it with this. Oh, first cast. Oh, shoot, I missed him. I think it was, I'm almost sure it was a red. He was solid. Who knows, maybe it was an alligator. There's a fish. Man, he hit me on the initial drop. I'm thinking a red? I don't know. Doesn't feel all that massive. He's not a big red. He might be a small red. Might be a trout. I think he's swimming at me. Either that or he's really... No, there he goes. Now he's starting to fight a little bit. Oh, it's a nice trout. Nice trout. All right, there we go. There we go. About a 15-inch speck. Good keeper fish. Oh, you know why he didn't fight? His mouth was pinned closed by the hook. When they do that, they just do not fight at all. I think because they can't get oxygen. And he also just took a dump on my ice chest. That's good. The meat ought to be nice and clean. Now, the key to that Zimmer swimmer is that tail. And when a fish bites it off like that, do yourself a favor and change it. Don't try and get by just throwing that half a bait. It doesn't work as well, nearly as well. I mean, if you're on every cast action, of course, it's not gonna matter. But when you're in search mode, picking away at fish, you want every advantage you can have. Definitely want that tail on there. That guy hit it. Man, he must have saw it falling from heaven. Well, threw in his mouth too. Are you? Yeah, you're a nice trout. You are a nice trout. Hopefully you stayed buttoned up. Oh man, I want to see you. Could be a little red. Could be, yep, little red. That's what he is. Just an absolute bumper crop of these things this year. Little 14, 15-inch reds are everywhere. So often those little reds come up and break the surface. Oh goodness, oh, I missed him. They are like in one spot, and it's like as soon as you hit it, they smoke this bait. That might have been another red because he felt pretty substantial on the hook set. You figure that's a lot of bait for that little red to get in his mouth. So of course you're gonna miss a number of them. How can you not love fishing? Especially when you have access to this. Come out on a beautiful fall afternoon. Just so awesome. Where else would you rather be? Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty warm today. It's a lot warmer than it should be. I definitely like it about 10 degrees cooler. But hey, at least it's not July. It's not mid-90s. Probably low 80s, maybe mid-80s even. Way too warm for this time of year. Might have worn out our welcome in this spot. Hooked a few fish. Several of them got off, but before I leave, I'm gonna throw a cork in there. Got a Salt Strong Power Prawn on a 16th ounce death grip under a Versamax Pro Max. This is my favorite cork by far. This is the cork, by the way, that you can adjust your leader length. That's why this thing is just so valuable. I adjust my leader length all the time. It's so rough in that little cut. The wind's blowing right into it and the water's draining out of it. So it's really turbulent right there. Hard to see a cork. Oh, not hard to see it there. I don't think so, bruh. I don't think so. I don't even need to put him on the tape. He's between 12 and 13. A last year keeper, but not a this year keeper. Appreciate the thought. All right, time to move on, see what else we can find. Before I do, I'm gonna throw this ATV way deep in that cut. Oh, goodness, what is that? Redfish? I think it's a red. I know he stopped that crankbait on a dime. Yeah, he's in that same year class. A little bit bigger than the last one we just caught, but still not big enough. All right, let this guy swim away. Undersized, but I still enjoyed the fight. It's one of the things I love about throwing this ATV is how hard the fish hit it. You never have to wonder, did I get bit? They don't leave any doubt. And I don't just cast and wind it, I fish it with a lot of twitches. I feel like that's super important. I'm just noticing water's pretty where I'm at, but up on that shoreline it's filthy. I guess because this wind's kind of pushing into it, pounding it. So I might need to push into a cut, get into some better water. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, good hit. Oh, he came off. Shoot. Bad luck today, goodness. That felt like a good speckled trout too. Daylight today with water temperatures what they are, you're definitely gonna lose more fish, particularly speckled trout, because they're just kind of hitting the bait to kill it. They're not really feeding. Water temps are too high. I mean, heck, it's 1:30, middle of the day. Hottest part of the day, sunniest part of the day. Oh, what the heck is that? That's a nice trout. Man, did he hit hard. Stay buttoned up there, buddy. Do me a favor, just stay buttoned up. All right, there we go. We'll take him, we'll take him. Oh, dude, you're crapping all over the boat too. What are y'all doing today? The percentage of keeper fish inside is definitely increasing, really by the day. Still running across some throwbacks here and there, but man, a month ago it was 90% throwbacks. Now it's about 50-50. I'm talking about speckled trout. Well, no other bites. I guess we'll push up into this cut and see what we find. Oh goodness, that was a great hit. That's gotta be a red. Oh goodness, you've got to be kidding. What in the world? Oh, he came back, or something came back. That's kind of crazy. He must have had something running with him. This one's not as big though. Yeah, that's one of those little ones. We lost the big one and then this guy came and hit it. We are snake bit today. Snake bit. This is about a 15-incher. Get out there, dude. Get out there and grow. You're lucky you're short, because I'd be eating you. No doubt about it, that little fish was running with that bigger fish. And when that bait fell out of his mouth, he went and ate it. Couldn't believe his good fortune until I set the hook. It's so funny how some days you just lose so many fish. Other days you can't lose a fish. Just depends on how they're hitting. You wouldn't expect them to really be ingesting the bait. 81.5 degree water. It's too hot. Oh, what have we here? Speckled trout, I think. Oh, nice trout, goodness. Oh, dude, don't throw that bait. All right, real nice trout. He threw the bait, but in the boat. Pretty fish, about a 15-incher. It's such a good trout fall. Kind of expected it would be. It's gonna get crazy good once we get some cool weather. Hopefully we don't get icy cold weather. It seems like when we have these warm spells in the fall, it goes from summer to winter. Hopefully we get some mild fronts in November and the rest of November and into December. December fishing can be really good if it's not too cold. So I would encourage you, if you're from Louisiana, to get out and go exploring. Try and avoid the places that everybody fishes and just go find some fish. It's easy right now. Fish are everywhere. Doesn't take a whole lot of inside knowledge or anything like that to find fish. I go exploring on every trip. Well, you gotta make some casts, a lot of fruitless casts, but you get rewarded frequently. Oh, like that. That's a trout. Oh goodness, dude, you're going crazy. Don't throw that hook. Come on, don't throw the hook. It's not even that big. I don't know if he's a keeper, but boy, he tagged it. I don't know, man, he is borderline. And you see, even he came off on the boat. Like, they're just not, they're hitting it hard, believe me, but they're not taking it deep. I don't think you're big enough, bruh. We're gonna measure you. Gotta make sure. This fish, 12 7/8. I mean, 12 15/16. He was so close. Probably could have twisted and contorted him and got him to stretch, but not worth it. But the great thing about the Louisiana marsh, you can do it on a windy day. I mean, it's a lot easier when the wind's not screaming. And it's not screaming today. It's blowing a little bit, but not crazy bad. But even if it was super windy today, I mean, look at this. Like, totally protected. Oh, well, what's that? You feel like a speck. You feel like a speckled trout. Yep. That's what you are. I think you're a keeper. I think you are a keeper. You're a little bit longer than the one I just caught. Sad for you. Good for me. Yeah, you weren't getting off. You're definitely a keeper. Yeah, he's 14 inches. And word of advice, if you're not from this area and you come down here to fish, or if you are from this area, but you haven't gone into the marsh a whole lot, there's a product you've got to bring with you. You will thank me later. It's called Marsh Romance. It's a gnat repellent. These marshes are full of these little no-see-ums. We call them marsh gnats, but they will make you absolutely miserable. And Marsh Romance is the best product I've found to ward off the marsh gnats. You do have to reapply it every hour or so. If it's warm like today and you're sweating a lot, you probably got to reapply it more often than that. You'll start noticing, I'm starting to get bit again. And you go reapply it and they stay away from you. Oh goodness, what a good hit. I don't think you're gonna make the cut. Man, bigger than I thought. What'd you throw up? Oh, you threw off my tail. Something hit me. I think you're legal. I think you're legal. I'm feeling optimistic. Yes, you're legal. Caught a bunch of fish on that Zimmer swimmer, but now I've lost the tail. So it's coming off. If you want to get some Zimmer swimmers, there's 3 colors I really recommend. This candy bug. For water like, oh goodness, man, I got drilled, I missed him. For water like this, oh, another hit. There's a few fish in there. This water's good, but it's not great. If it were pristine, I'd be throwing that Glass Blast. And if it were more stained than this, I'd be throwing that California 420. So that's the 3 colors I really recommend. You might find you like some other colors better, but to me, if you've got those 3, you got all your bases covered. There's another one. There's another one. I think he's also a barely legal one. I don't know. Now I'm thinking undersized, but we'll see. We'll put him on the tape. Let me see. I gotta make my bet before I measure him. I'm gonna say he's a hair short. 12 7/8. Nope, 13 1/8. All right, another special day here in the marshes of South Louisiana. I'm gonna bring this trip to a close, but it's not the end of the video. Next time you see me, I'll be in my kitchen. I'm gonna show you how to make that recipe. As I mentioned, I've only made it with shrimp, but man, it just sounds so good to me with fish. I think it's gonna be great, but we'll find out together. All right, welcome to my kitchen. Mrs. Marshman is home. She's actually doing some dishes right now. But let me show you the ingredients that you need to have for this recipe. Really, I think they're all pretty essential. If I come across some that I think you don't need, I'll let you know. But let me show you what we got. All right, first off, we've got sun-dried tomatoes. This is probably the only ingredient you can get by without having, but man, it's a lot better with sun-dried tomatoes. So get them if you can. Also, we've got artichoke hearts. Also, we got capers, definitely an essential ingredient. We've got some Parmesan cheese. We got some bacon. I've already made the bacon, crisped that up already. So that's good to go. We've got some half and half, some white wine, and the main ingredient, the fish. All right, we got a very full stove going, and actually I'm not even complete yet. I'm gonna have to use another one of these burners to make some pasta. But first off, we're gonna go ahead and reduce some wine. Pour that into this cast iron skillet. Just about that much. We gotta get that reduced. We have to turn that heat up to pretty high. And then we're gonna go ahead and start searing off our fish. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and cheat tonight. I'm gonna use this Louisiana Cajun seasoning, Louisiana fish fry Cajun seasoning. Really like this stuff. Sometimes I make my own seasoning. Frequently, that's what I do. Usually, that's what I do. But I'm gonna cheat a little bit tonight. All right, and those of you who are regular viewers, oh look, our wine is definitely bubbling and reducing. Turn that down just a hair. Regular viewers know I sear my fish in tallow. Now, I normally buy tallow off of Amazon. I've been making my own lately with brisket fat. And doing that, I kind of render that on the smoker. So it really has a great smoky smell and taste. It is, man, it's just so good. But believe me, you can use regular tallow or whatever, you know, if you use oil, whatever you use to sear your fish. All right, we've got 5 trout fillets in there. I can tell you trout's really not the best fish for searing. It turns out really tasty, but it does tend to fall apart. It's a very, very tender fish. But I don't really care for this dish, it doesn't matter. All right, our wine's reduced enough. I'm gonna go ahead and add now some half and half. This right here, how much is this? It's a quart. A quarter half and half. Let's see how much we add. Probably added about half a quart. We're gonna go ahead and reduce that as well. All right, we're gonna take our fish out. As you can see, I got a decent sear. Not the best ever, but probably be better in the second batch. So I debated making this tonight with heavy whipping cream, but the first time I made it, I had half and half. That's what I had in the fridge. And it turned out so good. Like, I don't want to mess with this recipe. It'd probably be really good with heavy whipping cream as well. But the key with this half and half, or if you were to use heavy whipping cream, obviously you got to stir it a lot. You want to try and keep it from curdling. And you basically want to reduce your half and half by about half. Half and half by about half. You want to cook out a lot of that water that's in there so it gets nice and thick. But not too thick. Definitely better sear on this batch. I got a pot of water boiling here. That's gonna be for my pasta. Go ahead and get that rolling in a second. We got all our fish off. This is a pretty involved recipe. We got a lot of stuff going on at once. Definitely gotta not forget to stir this cream, or half and half. It's reducing pretty good. We're getting there. All right, our half and half is getting nice and reduced. It's really close. I'm gonna go ahead and add some Parmesan cheese to it. This will help thicken it up some more. Some people say you shouldn't ever combine cheese and fish, but I feel Parmesan cheese and fish go really, really well together. As you might imagine, it smells really good. All right, it's getting really nice and thick. We're really close now. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the fire, add some salt and pepper. All right, I get these artichokes from Costco, and they come in quarters and halves. But really, I like to cut the quarters even in half to get them down to about 1/8. You don't want a big old quarter of an artichoke. You see some of them are half like that. So we're gonna cut these up a good bit. Oh, I forgot one other thing we need. I knew I would. And that's black olives. I got this can already open from the other day, so I'm gonna go ahead and use those. Hopefully you like artichoke hearts. I mean, it's such an important ingredient in this recipe, just so good. All right, I also like to cut the black olives in half. This, by the way, is my prison rodeo cutting board. Got this from the guy who was in Angola at the prison rodeo. Angola is a local penitentiary here in South Louisiana for like the most hardened criminals. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put these in our cream sauce. Mix all that in. Boy, does that look good. All right, only 2 more ingredients. We're gonna put in some capers. Just fantastic. Capers are just one of my favorite things to use in recipes because they just taste so good. Goes so well with fish too. And last but not least, well, maybe least, you get away without these. And that's the sun-dried tomatoes. I like a lot of those. I'm gonna cut them up a little bit though. Sun-dried tomatoes kind of add a little bit of sweetness, kind of a combo, like acid and sweetness. I love them. Now I debated how I wanted to serve this. Normally I mix the shrimp back in here and then just mix all the pasta in, just kind of make it all into one dish. But that's not really gonna be great with the presentation on the fish. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna ladle this on top of the fish. This is gonna be good. Just looking at it here, it's gonna be really good. Hungry?
Yeah.
Almost ready.
Smells delicious.
It should be delicious. All right, here we go. This is Mrs. Marshman's. She doesn't eat a lot, so I'm only gonna give her 2 pieces of fish. We'll put our concoction, our cream sauce concoction over this. You gotta have something green at every meal, so it's a little broccoli. All right, this is Mrs. Marshman's. Now I gotta make mine. Can't wait to try this. I'll take a much more substantial portion because I'm a pig. Oh, I forgot a key ingredient. I'm glad you didn't eat yours yet. Forgot a key ingredient. Let me get it though. This is why I made this ahead of time.
It looks too pretty to eat.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be tasting even better. So you gotta top this with bacon. Like that's so important. Now we're ready to eat. Let's see how it is. Mrs. Marshman took the first bite. How was it?
Delicious.
Better than with the shrimp or about comparable? Be honest.
About the same.
About the same. All right, well that's good because it's great with the shrimp.
But you didn't have the sun-dried tomatoes with the shrimp.
You're right. Yeah, last time I made this, I did not have the sun-dried tomatoes. Obviously different than with the shrimp because it's fish, but it's fresh speckled trout and it tastes fantastic. I mean, think of the ingredients in here. Everything is good and it all goes very, very well together. Perfect. Make this dish. You will not regret it and you'll impress all your friends. Or better yet, don't even share with them. Just eat it all yourself. So good.